Welcome to TMZ Live. We broke a big story. There is movement in the case involving the death of a friend of singer David's, Celeste Rivas, who was found dead in his trunk back in early September. We now know that LAPD homicide investigators believe her death was a homicide and say he is the suspect. Even though it has not formally come out as suspect, they have eyes on David as the guy who they think did it.
Right. What they have uncovered to this point leads them to believe that he is the suspect and that this is a homicide. Now, we should say that the medical examiner has still not returned the toxicology results.
Nor has determined the cause of death.
Determined manner or cause of death.
And manner or cause of death is officially important because the coroner needs to weigh in, but it's not necessary. Even if the coroner said undetermined, and we don't know what he's going to say, or what the coroner will say, but even if they say undetermined, LAPD can still press forward with a homicide. But and we'll get into why the medical examiner hasn't weighed in yet, because there's a backstory here. But here's the deal. We know, as everybody does, that her body was found cut up in his trunk in early September. There is a really critical fact here, and that fact is this. According to investigators, we are told that they have evidence that David made a mysterious trip in the middle of the night back in the spring of this year to a remote area of Santa Barbara County, around 100 miles from LA.
That, I think, the key part of that.
And spent a couple of hours there.
Is that it was a remote area, and yeah, as you said, spent a few hours there. We don't know anything more than that at this point.
But here's what we know, because some people are saying, well, would he have brought Celeste there? The way it was put to us was not that he and Celeste went to this remote area, it was David went. So, look, there are a couple of theories, and I'm not going to, say these are true. These are theories. Mm-hmm. Could be a body. It could be a weapon. But what's mysterious about this is if she, say, was killed in the spring, where was the body for June, July, August, and finally September?
There is still a whole other chapter of this to unfold, that what happened between whatever happened in the spring in that remote area of Santa Barbara, and then to go all the way to September and Celeste's body being found in the trunk of that Tesla parked here in the Hollywood Hills. There's who knows what could have happened at that point.
But the one thing we were told was, don't try and use logic necessarily.
Right.
Because it may not be kind of a logical explanation.
Well, we also know that we had broken that story a couple months ago, that LAPD did the sweep of the house that he was renting in the Hollywood Hills. They had tested it, forensics, and we know they're still waiting for some of those forensics to come back, in addition to the toxicology from the medical examiner. Could he have killed her in the house? Again, just a theory. Could he have killed her in the house and then drove her to Santa Barbara and had planned to just get rid of the body in Santa Barbara and then panic and drive back to LA with her body in the car?
He was there for a couple of hours,
yeah.
And that's what's interesting.
Right.
Why, if you're going to dispose, why would you be there a couple of hours? And there's a lot we don't understand about that.
His mind
but we do know
panicking.
this. Santa Barbara is critical. And again, a theory, but I think this is a good one, that I think authorities believe her death was around that time. Because that trip is something that is front and center for LAPD robbery homicide.
One other very critical fact is that we're told that they believe the manner in which her body was dismembered leads them to believe that whoever dismembered her body had help, that it was not just one person who was involved in the dismembering of her body.
And that in itself is interesting.
And that is interesting because that means they are, whether they know who those people are, but we don't know that they have any other suspects.
And finally,
but it does mean that there could be other arrests beyond whoever killed her.
And finally, to close this loop, why 2.5 months after the body was found has the medical examiner not determined cause of death and not given the toxicology report to the LAPD? I know it can take months for both of those to happen, but in high-profile cases, it can be accelerated, and it's weird to me that it wasn't. What I got back was the relationship between the medical examiner and the LAPD has been strained over the last few years. I'm not sure why. It's not unusual that that happens because sometimes they're working, they're technically working on the same path, but a lot of times they butt heads. But I'm told the relationship wasn't the greatest, and they may not have fast-tracked it as a result. We don't know, but it seems weird to me 2.5 months in,
Also,
you still don't know anything like that.
I would imagine that it is more difficult to nail down those results if the body had been decomposed. Let's say if indeed she met her demise back in the spring and the body is not discovered until September, does that amount of decomposition make it harder?
And we should just mention the decomposition. They didn't know when they discovered the body whether it was even male or female. They couldn't tell. And actually, it all came about because we got a tip and ended up calling Celeste's mom because we knew about this tattoo on her index finger. Right. We called the mom, and the mom mentioned it was a red tattoo. So we called LAPD homicide and spoke to the lead investigator, gave him the mother's name and phone number, and mentioned that it was a red tattoo. And a day or two later, they identified her as Celeste.
Hey, my name is Latrell from Atlanta. This D4VD case with Celeste is a tragedy. I know LAPD, they're investigating it. I just prayed that they figure out what's going on with this and we get the facts right. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories on what he may have done, who might have helped, but we just need to get the facts, and hopefully he's innocent. If he's not innocent, then he will be convicted for his actions if it's true.
We will see.
Well, Dancing with the Stars got the moment that they've been sort of building up to all season. Everyone was wondering when Zac Efron was going to show up to support his brother, who is doing very well this season. And it happened last night. So while Zac, although I will say, Dancing with the Stars scoring is not that complicated, right?
Well, it's controversial. Controversial, not complicated.
But there was a moment that it seemed like Zac was kind of confused about.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't watching.
That he didn't understand whether his brother had done well or not.
Dancing with the Stars may not be his jam.
He
just
had
may
no
not
idea
be.
what was going on.
They score from 0 to 10.
Yeah.
It's basic
Well, you might not know
knowledge.
what is one the best or the worst. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't understand it.
Well, now we know who else will be confused.
No, and the other thing is, like, if you get a 7, is that bad? Is it okay?
Well,
is
for
it
the
good?
semifinals, a 7 is like a 2.
Okay,
Pretty
but
bad. It's
I get
bad.
it, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know that. So
But
I mean, I think it's
His
legit.
brother
Yeah,
every week.
he should be supporting Dylan.
No.
But maybe he's not watching.
Well, that's
Their
not
little
very
brother
supportive.
is on competition, and it's his life right now.
Come on, guys. So how good was Dylan?
Dylan's doing pretty good. Dylan's partner is Daniela Carriga, who is like, I think personally one of the best pros. So sometimes a lot of Dylan's dancing is like Daniela dancing around Dylan a little bit, but they did say he's improving and like he's getting better.
Oh, he's in the semifinals. So
yeah.
Does it help Dylan that Zac is there? I mean, are people going to say, "Oh, I got to vote for Dylan because I love Zac"? I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
In my opinion, yes, this helped him tremendously last night. I think it saved him because everybody going into it was like, okay, we want this person to leave, but we know that it's
Well,
probably
they wanted
gonna be,
Dylan to leave?
They wanted Whitney to leave because she was hated on. It's a witch hunt for Whitney right now.
It is a witch hunt, a little bit. She had made a comment
A
on
witch
Secret
hunt?
Life.
A witch hunt. It's a modern
This is
day
like the
witch hunt.
Salem trial.
Yes.
Hear us out. So she's from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, right? She made a comment on one of the new episodes of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives saying the only reason she came back to that show was to have the opportunity to do Dancing with the Stars.
Well, why is
Hence-
that bad?
She was being open and honest.
Well, the internet hated her.
And
for
the
it.
internet and everyone was like, that's messed up.
And they like.
And the girls on the show hated her for it.
Okay, fine. So they got rid of her.
You've gotten far deeper into Dancing with the Stars politics
You're also
than-
acting like this has anything to do with how good of dancers they are. It's who they like the most. I mean, that's what this is. It's who they like the most, and you know that. And so if they like,
It's a popularity contest.
If they don't like Dylan, and somebody liked Zac Efron in High School Musical, they're not going to vote for Dylan.
Zach sitting there with, is that Dylan's kid? Who's the kid that
That's
was
their
on
little
his-
sister, Olivia.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, that's
adorable. That really helped them
How are you
too.
going to vote against that family?
Exactly.
not, Charles, you're
So the moral of the story is, if Zac Efron hadn't been there, maybe Dylan Efron would have left, and that would have been a fair result.
So you really think?
Please.
Well, excuse me. I have an opinion.
Oh, boy.
And I do too.
So do we.
Hi, I'm Kendall from Toronto, Canada, and I think it was kind of incredible seeing Zac in the audience last night cheering for his brother. Even when he didn't know what was going on, you see him clapping. He even asked the mom, "Is this a good score?" when they scored the 27 out of 30. And I think it's been like a long awaited appearance, and everyone is kind of speculating if he makes an appearance in the finals. And I think it really did help him move forward, just getting those extra votes, because everyone wants Zac back there in the finals.
Oh, I can finally sleep.
Coming up.
There has been some extraordinary events in Washington, D.C. in the last 24 hours. There are some senators and congresspeople who are making a plea to our armed forces.
It's the code of conduct for the military. It says very clearly that you can refuse an illegal order.
Be right back.
There has been some extraordinary events in Washington, D.C. In the last 24 hours that have raised eyebrows for all sorts of reasons. But something else that has happened is very interesting, because there are some senators and Congress people who are making a plea to our armed forces. And I guarantee that this plea is not sitting well with the president, and certainly not with Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. But this is a little bit of what they are, the message that they are sending to our armed forces.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Well, one of the elected officials you saw delivering that message to the armed forces is Senator Elissa Slotkin, and she is joining us now to talk about what prompted this. And also, I'm dying, Senator, to get your reaction to Pete Hegseth's critique of this video. So welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking about this stuff.
So I kind of want to dive into the peril of this, because I remember boot camp where they talked about absolutely always obeying orders. If somebody believes something is illegal and they end up defying the order, and then say the Supreme Court says, no, it was legal all along.
Where are they?
Are they subject to discipline?
Yeah, I mean, look, let's talk about the law here. The Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is something that every single person who wears the uniform is trained in. That's the code of conduct for the military. It says very clearly that you can refuse an illegal order. Now, you're right. This is a very hard thing to do, but let's put this in real terms, like specifics. In the last Trump administration, the president asked his then Secretary of Defense to, quote, shoot at the legs of unarmed protesters outside the White House as a way to get them away, right? Move them. That is, to the credit of the Secretary of Defense, he said, we're not going to do that. And he kind of tap danced and got him off of that. That's an example of an illegal order. And I give that Secretary of Defense a credit for what he did. But that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And I think it is difficult. But the video we put together, we did because of the folks in uniform who were quietly reaching out to us saying, hey, what if I'm asked to do something that I think is illegal? What if I'm involved in something? Can I be held personally liable for that kind of stuff? So we did the video because all of us are either former intelligence or former military, and we had these people reaching out to us saying, I don't know what to do if the commander-in-chief orders me to do something that is illegal.
So you said that there are people in the military who are reaching out to you. Yeah. What orders were they referring to specifically that they were questioning whether or not this was legal?
To be honest, I mean, I served alongside the military my entire life in 3 tours in Iraq. They are trained to fight enemies abroad, right? Protect the homeland from enemies abroad. They're not trained in police techniques. They're not trained in arresting, detaining American citizens, crowd control, raids on homes. And they were worried that they could be asked to do those things, that protests could get bad in a place like Chicago, and they could be asked to do these things. And so there's a lot of trepidation, particularly around the idea that they would be engaged with American citizens on American soil, which is, by the way, like as fundamental of an American trait, right? I mean, we are America, the United States of America, because we got rid of a king and an abusive military was, had his thumb on us until we overthrew them. So I think there was a lot of concern about that. There's a lot of questions about the strikes in the Caribbean, right? And kind of the legal framework there. A lot of reports about people saying, going to their local JAG and saying, can I get some top cover here? Is this okay? So these are the kinds of things we've been hearing. So we just wanted to speak directly to them because we haven't been able to actually hear directly from the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security on how they justify putting the military and federal law enforcement in our cities.
So I'm thinking, though, if you're, say, in the Air Force and you're ordered to drop a bomb on a boat off of Venezuela, you're kind of in a position, I mean, personally, I'm in case you didn't notice, an old guy, and I remember Lyndon Johnson in the Gulf of Tonkin resolution during the Vietnam War. So I remember all of that. And it's complicated because, the president says, I have the right to do this by executive order. Congress says, no, you don't. And we have a Supreme Court that has surprised us from time to time recently. So you got this guy flying an airplane at 600 miles an hour, and he has to figure out, do I drop this bomb or do I defy the order? That seems a tough call.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't have that issue mid-flight, right? I think what we're hearing is that folks are seeking out their local JAG, their legal authority and their unit before being asked to do something, before they take off. And they're just saying, hey, could you give me some top cover here? Could you tell me and assure me that these things are legal before I do them? And I think what we're certainly hearing is from folks who are being sent from one National Guard, in one state to another National Guard or to another state against the will of that governor, and saying like, what if I'm asked to detain someone? What if I'm asked to, go along with police and perform police actions? Like, how do I do that? They're struggling with these issues. And I think the thing that is really agitating people in uniform, but also our veterans and former intel folks is, the military is the most respected institution we have in this country. And the idea that American citizens could ever be scared of a uniformed military in the streets, it really just turns people's stomach. It turns my stomach.
So for rank and file soldiers, you're saying they're going to their JAG in their unit. Is that the final word for them? Whatever that JAG officer says to them is the proper application of the law at that point? Is that what they need to go by?
They go by their JAGs. Some of them are doing memos for the record, kind of a verbal retelling, a written retelling of what their role was, just to say, hey, I'm just documenting this in case I ever get in trouble later. So yes, most people go to their JAG and they're making sure they have top cover. I think there's a lot of concern that, especially with this administration, the senior folks, the Secretary of Defense will go on to other things. The president will never be held accountable, but rank and file folks could be held accountable later on. So I think there's just a lot of nervousness and stress in the system. But it all comes back to this idea that the military should be seen as an exclusively positive thing by the American people. And they don't like the idea that Americans could be, seeing them in this negative light.
Right.
So finally, I just want to ask you a question. Given the climate right now, Donald Trump's now called Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor. He's gone after people criminally for kind of eye-popping things. And are you concerned that you and your other 5 colleagues could end up getting in the crosshairs of Trump and the Justice Department in terms of, say, I don't know, the Insurrection Act, where they say that what you're doing is you're undermining the government? Is that something you guys have discussed? Is it an issue?
Yeah, most of us have discussed, certainly with our own teams, and most of us have kind of a break glass plan in case they come after us. I'll be honest. I mean, I've watched them go after my colleagues. I've watched them go after people, who they just don't agree with outside of government. And so anyone at this point has to be realistic about that. And some of the first texts I got when the video started going viral was, "Are you safe? Are you okay?" Right? And I think that to me is just a sad moment in our politics. But it's not going to shut me up, and it's not going to shut up others who have served. And because then that's what they want. They want fear to be used as an effective weapon so that critics of this administration shut the hell up. That's the point. And if we give in, then they win. And I'm just not going to do that.
Well, Secretary Hegseth has referred to the video as stage 4 TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, which maybe seems like a laughable response to it, and maybe that's all it becomes, and there's no reason for you to be concerned. But I know what you're saying. I get why people reaching out are saying, "Are you okay?"
Oh, yeah. We so appreciate the time.
So much,
Thank
Senator.
you so much.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Coming up.
Pete Davidson and Elsie Hewitt are getting ready for parenthood by sitting down and talking about how they ended up in this position anyway, about their first date. And
this is shocking to me. Shocking.
Hey, it happens.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. Pete Davidson and Elsie Hewitt are getting ready for parenthood by sitting down and talking about how they ended up in this position anyway, about their first date. They did a little Q&A with Bumble and talked about the very beginning of their relationship. And
this is shocking to me. Shocking.
Hey, it happens.
No, but what they said is shocking.
I know, it happens.
When we went on our first date, like we went out to dinner for the first time, I was like, okay, don't think that I'm crazy, but I just know you're going to be the father of my children.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I was like, I know. That's
and
pretty.
Look at us now.
How about that? How about that?
You run for the hills when somebody says that. It's like you run for the hills.
There should be a lot of questions that happen
you meet
after
on
that.
the first date. First of all, if you're relying on that other person for protection, you're crazy.
Exactly.
You're
Then you start
crazy.
So let's talk about birth control.
Yeah.
How are we doing this?
I mean, and do you believe it?
Did you see Pete in the clip? He did look a little uncomfortable. He kind of always looks uncomfortable. But like in the beginning of a relationship, I know this is like a hot take. You say some things that like kind of flirtatious. I mean, I guess if you're saying like
that's not flirtatious.
You're saying
have you ever said
like,
oh, I wonder what our kids are gonna look like
on a first date?
You say it,
first second date.
Devin, what you're referring to is you say those things because you think it's going to get you what you really want, which is just a hookup.
Which is child support.
No, I don't want no young guy wants child support.
No,
that's for sure.
That's what you're going to get if you.
Also, the other point here that needs to be made is it also does depend on who the girl is and what she looks like.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, she does.
No,
yes, it does.
Does it really?
Look how beautiful she is. If she said anything, I'd be like, oh yeah, sounds good.
And you would risk having to pay child support for 18 years.
I mean, I would regret it probably. I would eventually regret it.
You would trade paying child support and God knows what else in return for sex for one night.
When you're a young guy, you make a lot of dumb decisions. I'll say that.
At least you're conceding it's a dumb decision.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I would regret it the next day.
You don't have a lawyer, do you? I'm going to pose this one.
Right here.
Don't say anything more. You've said more than enough.
Right. Miranda rights.
Hey, I'm Christiana from Atlanta, and I'm not gonna lie, Pete Davidson has an impeccable resume when it comes to dating. It seems like Elsie is the real deal, and I really absolutely love an instant connection. Having a child is a big deal, and picking your partner is an even bigger deal. So I'm really happy that they found that, and I really wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, child support. Yeah, we get it. That's really interesting wallpaper. Is that wallpaper or is that cement?
No, it's wallpaper.
It's really cool. There is a treatment you can do with cement to create all sorts of patterns. So it could have been cement.
No, just wallpaper, y'all.
Coming up.
Karen Reed may have been acquitted, but she is not done with this case. In fact, you could say she's on a revenge tour.
She says this was a malicious prosecution rooted in lies.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Karen Reed may have been acquitted, but she is not done with this case. In fact, you could say she's on a revenge tour.
She believes she was set up by cops, which really was her whole defense during the trial, actually the two trials, which is that cops set her up to cover up their own misdeeds with respect to her
Make
boyfriend.
it look like she killed her boyfriend.
And she's suing them. She's suing the department. She's suing the city. And she says this was a malicious prosecution rooted in lies.
Yeah, you know, she's going after 8 people, and she's saying there were these 5 people at the party who killed John O'Keefe in 2022. And she's saying not only that, they set it up and they sort of framed her afterwards and put him on the snowbank, and everyone has seen all these documentaries. She's going after them and saying the cops went along with this narrative.
So she's going after the department.
She's going after the cops, the lead investigator, his 2 former supervisors, and the 5 people at that party.
So, but what
all
about
of them.
But I thought she's going after the department as well. Is she not?
I see the 8 people in the lawsuit.
So why not the department? Is there an immunity issue?
I don't know why she didn't sue the entire department. She's saying
maybe
these
she's
people,
saying
no, but she's saying these
pockets.
people conspired.
No, I understand. But they're agents
like,
of the department, and the.
Well, they were on a frolicking detour from the department's not going to go off on a conspiracy.
If she goes after the department, then she has to prove that the
department,
the police chief was in on this.
No, you
right?
don't. Nope. All you have to do is show they were acting within the scope of their authority in the department.
But they're clearly outside of the scope of their authority if they're conspiring to frame an innocent person.
You don't reach the conclusion and drop the department, which has the deep pockets, before you actually sue. You at least roll the dice. I'm just confused by that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I think she's suing the 8 individuals, and that's the way they have framed this lawsuit.
She doesn't have to, in order to prove that they were setting her up, she doesn't need to prove that they actually did it, right? She just has to prove.
She has to prove
malice. She has to show malice, and
I guess the point is if they framed her,
part of
then
saying they framed her, he was at the party. He died, and then they framed.
The way you win these lawsuits is to prove that that the people responsible for her prosecution were motivated not just partly, but solely out of malice. Yeah, it's a very high standard that they maliciously framed her knowing that she didn't do it. That's what she's going to have to prove. They're going after these witnesses saying they were liars on the stand.
Yes.
They're covering up their misdeeds, and that whatever happened to John O'Keefe happened inside the house, and that Karen Reed was the scapegoat.
Yes, and I wonder if we can step back from all this. She was acquitted. She could put this all behind her.
That just means
that
just means reasonable doubt. That doesn't mean she was found innocent.
Yeah, it was a mistrial, and then she was acquitted.
Perhaps
and
she's not found innocent.
That's right. So maybe that's what she's out to prove, that these are the people who killed her boyfriend, John O'Keefe.
Perhaps most importantly, will this trial be televised?
People will watch if it is, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
This is Greg from Cleveland, and I watched the entire Karen Reed trial on TikTok, and I feel that she definitely was set up. There's so much evidence against the police officers. I feel that she totally has a right to sue the cops that did set her up, and I hope she gets a ton of cash.
By the way, I'm thinking maybe she didn't sue the department because there's some sovereign immunity claim where the department can't be sued. I don't know.
Khloe Kardashian revealing something we did not know about her relationship with Lamar Odom.
I thought we knew everything.
It did feel like we knew everything, but there are some things that have happened that we don't know about, and it came out on her podcast, Khloe in Wonderland. See, this is the thing. She opened it up to questions from her viewers, which we do all the time on our live stream, and then sometimes you get a question that you wish you had not opened the floor up. And I think that's what happened with Khloe, but here was her answer when someone asked about a piece of her history and what Lamar did with it.
So I used to journal all the time. I haven't journaled in years. My ex-husband was going through it. He was having a tough time, and he was incredibly paranoid and found these journals that he knew I did all the time and was reading them and just was convinced that I was like taking notes and sending them to the government or something crazy. And he threw all of them into a fire in front of me. And I remember sobbing, tears streaming down my face. And I was like I could remember me on my knees screaming. Like, it was years of my life. I do hate that I don't do it anymore, but I also think there's a piece of me that doesn't ever want to risk that could ever happen again.
Lamar was out of his head at that time.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because so much has come out about that marriage and about the insanity that was going on when Lamar was heavy into drugs. I didn't know that there was anything left, but
yeah, it makes me feel
that.
like there's a lot that happened that we don't know
That's
about.
probably true.
That's not surprising because Khloe has always been very, very guarded when it comes to Lamar and when it comes to what actually went down. She's always been kind of private and not wanting too much to come out to make him look bad. She's always kind of taken care of him. So it's not surprising that we get little by little by little because it's almost like
we got a lot at one time.
Well, at one time.
We got a big document dump, so to speak.
She very rarely just comes out and bashes him.
Well, remember
and now it makes me feel like there are a lot of little things that happen that maybe she's going to start talking about.
They even talked about when they had the rapprochement where he came over to their house.
Well, they recorded that.
Right.
And we saw that happen.
That was on the...
I don't think Lamar's ever gotten over the breakup of that relationship.
I don't think so either. But you know what's crazy is I think that they would still be together even though they were only together for 3 weeks before they got married. If drugs were not a part of this, relationship, Khloe and Lamar would still be together to this day. I stand by that faithfully. Not going to happen now, but yeah.
Coming up.
One of the lead actors in the movie, Dream Eater, bears a striking resemblance to our Charlie Cotton. We decided we'd put Charlie Cotton through a little bit of, horror film boot camp. Joining us now to critique Charlie's performance, if you want to call it that, is Eli Roth, who is the executive producer on Dream Eater.
Be right back.
So maybe the coolest thing we've done on the TMZ After Dark tour is when we got Eli Roth to actually host one night.
Undoubtedly, by the way.
When he was, as he was doing the rollout for the movie that he produced, Dream Eater.
Scariest movie of the year.
Scariest movie of the year, I have no doubt, just from the trailer. And something happened while Eli was in the process of that. Our director of fun, James, noticed that one of the lead actors in the movie bears a striking resemblance to our Charlie Cotton. In fact, I think James actually thought it was Charlie like moonlighting. It's not. It's Alex Lee Williams, who is one of the writers and directors and stars of the film. So we decided we'd put Charlie Cotton through a little bit of, horror film boot camp.
Put him through the paces.
See if he has what it takes. Here is a little bit of Charlie's training with Alex and other actors from the film.
So with your right hand, grab a big fistful out of that cake and then just put it right to your mouth and chew on it, holding it to your face so that it starts to smear a little bit. And if you feel it going up your nose, you know you're doing it right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that cake face.
You're going to shoot your head back a little bit to the right and just eyes wide open, scream as loud as you can. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Is it like a roar or is it like a girly like?
Do you want me to give you one?
Please.
Okay.
Okay, yours is ferocious more than mine. Mine was like a little like very scared.
All right. That's the one. That's the one. And that's it. And now you will be the poster for Dream Eater.
Wow, that's nice. Thank you, guys.
Oh my God.
I don't know if his second take was any better.
He doesn't make any more sense in real life in the room than he does there.
Well, joining us now to critique Charlie's performance, if you want to call it that, is Eli Roth, who is the executive producer on Dream Eater. Welcome back, Eli. How did Charlie do? I mean, be honest.
I think. Look, he's the first Dream Eater cosplayer that I've seen, so he gets points for that alone. I think here's the mistake, and I tell a lot of people, when you're screaming on camera, and Alex told him this, but I'd really make sure when you scream in real life, you want to go. Like, your instinct is to close your eyes and shrug, but that looks terrible on camera, and everyone's face kind of looks the same. So what you want to do is pop your eyes.
Ooh.
So even though it's counterintuitive, when you go, that's much better for on camera.
And that is scarier.
I can do this better than Charlie. I can do this better than Charlie.
Boy. Here we go.
You ready?
Yes.
Give me a 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, action. That's pretty good.
Were your eyes open?
Yeah.
I think the rest of us, what you want is for everyone else to be closing their eyes.
Right.
The way to do it
No, seriously,
is like,
there were people seriously alarmed in this room.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but they generally are alarmed anyway, so that's okay.
really a horror movie is the only time you're allowed to scream at the top of your lungs. That's
That was
why
actually very cathartic, actually.
Oh, it feels great. That's why people do screaming therapy.
Yeah, now we're gonna we need a scream room.
I
We're gonna need a scream room.
I like that.
Yeah,
So,
we need the TMZ scream room. You could just stream the scream. Just people go in there and just.
how's the After Dark tour?
The After Dark tour was so fun. I do think that a lot of people thought they were going to see Ray J, which is a little odd, but I have to say, my Ray J was pretty good, to be fair. So, no, it was great. It was so much fun. Everyone was so nice. Then we went to Slasher World after.
Yeah, we heard.
That's Slasher World. I saw the video. That's
It was just a blast. Yeah, that's a new horror mecca that opened on Melrose, and people loved the movie. You know, we gave out tickets. Everybody who saw Dream Eater, it's now out on VOD. So people can check it out. They can rent it right now.
You know,
I think this is going to be a very interesting weekend for people sitting at home watching that.
When we're
There'll be
done
a lot
with,
of nightmares.
When we're done with the show today, we're going to do a TikTok and we're going to go around the room and we're going to see who has the best horror scream.
Yes, that's good.
I think we're going to do that.
For whoever's recording it.
I think we're going to do that.
Everyone will like. They go for it. Doesn't look good on camera. Remember,
you do it aggressively. You don't do
you
it
want to
you don't do it in
aggressively
fear.
show your fear to the camera.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, not fear. Not fear. It's almost just offensive rather than defensive.
I think what you did was offensive. I agree. I think you did. It was excellent. Good job.
Well, being offensive is sort of in my DNA.
So it's streaming now.
Yes, it is out now. It's on streaming. It's on all platforms. You can look it up. Dream Eater, wherever you rent your movies. It's not on like any of the streaming services, but it is for rent. But yeah, Amazon, iTunes, whatever you do, like PlayStation, wherever you rent.
It was so much fun working with you on this, Eli. I mean, we miss you. We've talked to you from time to time, but we really miss you.
I miss you too.
It's always great when we can collab on things like this. And who knew that Alex and Charlie were separated at birth?
I know, it's terrifying. Like, Charlie really can milk that costume. But I think everybody needs to rent the movie so that it's a massive hit on VOD, so that Charlie is the most recognized costume next year. I think that should be the new goal.
And so they can learn a proper horror film scream.
Yes, I'm telling you, just remember, like, that, but it takes a minute. Like, you're gonna blow out your voice. You get like 1 or 2 takes.
I like it. No, I'm into it. I can't wait to do the TikTok.
Pop the eyes. That's the key. Don't close your eyes when you scream. It makes it way scarier.
Okay, Eli. Great talking to you, man.
Love you guys. Good talking to you.
Take care, man.
Coming up.
Eminem, I love you, but cool your jets on this one.
Eminem is not thrilled with an Australian company that is trying to come to the U.S. shores. The company is called Swim Shady.
Be right back.
Eminem, I love you, but cool your jets on this one.
Oh,
cool your jets
I
on this
think he
one.
may have a point. So Eminem is not thrilled with an Australian company that is trying to come to the U.S. shores. The company is called Swim Shady.
Swim
it is a
Shady
swimwear company, as you figured, I'm sure. They are already in Australia, but they have filed for a patent here in the U.S., which was actually approved until Eminem stepped in and said, I'm opposing this because it will confuse the marketplace.
No, it won't.
People will think that
No,
I am suddenly
it
in
won't.
the swimwear
Swim
business.
Shady.
And you know what? He's got a point.
He has
when
no
you
point.
hear, what
No.
do you think they named it Swim Shady? Why do you think they named it Swim Shady?
Hold on.
They named.
Can I answer?
Please.
They named it Swim Shady to play off Slim Shady, but nobody is confusing that for an Eminem brand.
So the old man has a
Period.
point here. You need two
Excuse
things.
me.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about Charles. There's two things you need for copyright or trademark infringement. Number one, you need an intent by the party to infringe. And most importantly, you need consumer confusion.
All right, so I think there's intent.
Yeah, the intent is there.
Yep.
Will the
There's
consumer
no confusion.
be confused? Will the consumer be confused by Swim Shady? Will they think that Eminem is behind the brand?
If you're confused, you're kind of an idiot.
There's definitely confusion here.
Eminem, stick to spaghetti.
Hi, Angela from Indio, California. And you know what? Imitation is flattery. And, you know, Eminem, he's an icon. He's a legend in the music industry. And if you want to associate your brand, you know, your business and that brand to a legend, then why not? I mean, you're still getting your name spoken about.
Would not agree more.
Well, you say imitation is flattery. Eminem says it's money.
It's not imitation.
You're using my brand, and I'm not getting paid.
Losing battle. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm talking about Zac Efron's appearance on Dancing with the Stars. Look, seeing him supporting his brother, I thought it was so sweet. I've been a big Zac Efron fan since his High School Musical days, but honestly, seeing him sitting in the audience and seeing his brother performing was a bit shocking to me. I feel like they've been missing the star quality on the show for a minute. I know Dancing with the Stars sibling doesn't have the same ring to it, but I'm glad that Zac was there to remind us why Dylan was chosen in the first place.
Did you vote?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Always.
Did you vote?
Yeah.
Who'd you vote for?
I always vote for Jordan. That's the only person I vote for.
So you're thrilled to see Zac there, but not
you
enough
didn't
to
vote
vote for
for him.
Dylan. Wow.
Okay, one more.
Nisi from Florida here. I just wanted to quickly touch on the David situation. I feel like most people were waiting for him to be named as a suspect for a while now. I hope we get more answers and that Celeste gets some justice sometime soon.
We will see, but my gut tells me this is not going to be too long before we get some action.
Coming up.
I don't know how many times Sesame Street is hooked up with the sexiest man alive, but it has happened now. Jonathan Bailey was hanging with Bert and Ernie.
By the way, Jonathan Bailey, first openly gay sexiest man alive, hanging with Bert and Ernie, who
have been rumored.
Yeah, rumored, which I found kind of interesting.
Be right back.
I don't know how many times Sesame Street is hooked up with the sexiest man alive. Seems like a weird combination, but it has happened now. Jonathan Bailey, the Wicked for Good star, who was recently named Sexiest Man Alive, was hanging with Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie, no less.
Yeah.
By the way, Jonathan Bailey, first openly gay sexiest man alive, hanging with Bert and Ernie, who
have been rumored.
Yeah, rumored, which I found kind of interesting. Can we go back to that video? I want to see if Bert and/or Ernie are swooning here. They look happy.
What do you mean?
Which is the yellow
Look at them
one?
smiling.
Is
The
yellow one?
Do you
Bert
not
or
know
Ernie?
which one is Bert?
No.
Oh my
Which one is
gosh,
Bert?
Harvey, you don't know the difference.
Which was the yellow one?
Yellow one is Bert.
Bert is
Oh my
into
God,
him.
you don't know Bert and Ernie.
Bert is into him. You can tell. Look at him. Double take.
I am aghast.
Why do
that
you think?
don't know? The
Why should
difference.
I know Bert and Ernie?
I know.
Because
I guess you shouldn't.
Because.
No, I guess you shouldn't. No.
Because. We'll see you tomorrow.